I got this article, 10 reasons why you should be trying to date Vietnamese women. Give you my 2 cents of 7 years living there, being in 2 serious relationships, having a few here and there, starting a business out there, doing work out there, living out there, being a teacher out there, being a nomad out there, being everything out there, and giving you my insights on what I think on this subject itself. So, got our coffee, we'll put this down here. So let's go ahead and get into this and start with 10 reasons why you should try dating Vietnamese women. So let's go over each part and let's talk about what it's like to date a Vietnamese girl, and should you? This is gonna be interesting, that's all I can say. Let's get in it. So Vietnamese women are among the most beautiful, affectionate, and considerate women in the world. For men to use online dating sites like Vietnamese ladies, I guess this is this site. If you look in here, is Asian Single. So this is an Asian website. I'm assuming this is some type of like affiliate thing. Are often on top of the list for the ladies that they'd like to meet. Below are 10 reasons why you should try dating Vietnamese brides. Wait, what? Below are 10 reasons why you should try dating Vietnamese brides. Wait, what is this? Okay, 2020. Wait, you're supposed to date married women. I think this means like before, like you're supposed to marry them, right? I'm gonna assume that's what it is. So anyways, reason 1, Vietnamese women are fascinating. Ladies from, I'm gonna change this vocabulary some because they just keep using the same word. Like we just started this, they've already used the word like 4 times. Like, come on, bro. When you date cute Asian girls, you learn about their country, their cultures, and Vietnamese rich history and stunning scenery will be an additional blessing. Vietnamese brides will share information about their traditions, discuss main events, and open up their emotions and opinions. And that's what I'm saying. When you date a cute Asian girl, and then it says Vietnamese brides. You see what I mean? So it's kind of it's a translation issue. In regards to that, Vietnamese will invest are intelligent. Now, in regards to like learning about history, stuff like that, a lot of modern Vietnamese girls aren't into that stuff. Like they're not really into the whole history of Vietnam. It's surprising. A lot of Vietnamese don't really, and I don't want to say this in a rude way, but a lot of them don't care. Like it's just, they go to school for 12 years and all they do is study the last like 45 years of Vietnam history. Fine. They just kind of cheat, copy, and they go through school faking their test. They don't know what it's about. So they're not really focused on it, per se. They are fascinating women. And I'll give you kind of a background on me. Like I grew up in Vietnamese my whole life. Like I grew up in a Vietnamese Chinese culture my entire life. So when I see these cultures and hear about these traditions and means of how people act, I get it. You know, I understand how Western Vietnamese culture is in America, at least. And I understand how Vietnamese are in Vietnam, you know. In regards to like traditions, stuff like that, it really depends. Like Vietnamese women are starting to become very Western feminists, if that makes sense. Kind of, they're having that like, I don't need no man theory. It's getting interesting, but let's keep going. In regards to they're fascinating, sure. I mean, I think any woman that you're attracted to is a fascinating person. Like if they're not fascinated to you, what are you doing? I think that's just a booty call at that point, right? Reason 2, beautiful. Again, this is where that bias is subjective. I grew up in Vietnamese culture. So for me, the base Asian person, Vietnamese girl, like Asian girl to me has a Vietnamese look to them. You know, like I'm just biased. Like when I see a Malaysian girl, when I see a Thai girl, any of these girls, like I really deep down do compare it to like a Vietnamese Chinese girl. That's just like my base standard. And we all have that. Like any guy that doesn't have this is lying to you. You know, like that's how we have a girl's a 10, a girl's a 5. Like we base it on something. I base a lot typically on a Vietnamese standard, right? So Vietnamese girls are renowned for their beauty and their effortless ability to look stunning without arrogance. We're going to talk about that in a minute. Vietnamese girls take pride in their appearance, but not to superficial levels. Okay, that's a lie. And you will enjoy the beauty and natural grace of your new love, the bride, right? Without making this her priority. Modern day Vietnamese girls and a lot of the 25, 30-year-old ones, they focus heavily on looks. Like if you guys are kind of in the Instagram and Zalo and stuff like that, everything is about filters nowadays. And honestly, if you get like an Oppo or anything like that in Vietnam, it has default filters on the camera. Everything's a filter. And for respect out of my friends, I'm not gonna show images on this video of my friends. Over the years, they've started using filters. And now that's the only thing they do. When they're on dating sites, they use filters. When they're on Instagram, they use filters. You can't find natural pictures of them no more. In regards to how girls look, Vietnamese girls, 99% of the time, are filtered, which is unfortunate. And looks are a big part of Asian culture. I mean, this isn't talked about much, but when you go to stores, being like a 7-Eleven or something like that, you're gonna find whitening cream. Like that's a big market in Vietnam. I think it's a big market in China too, in Korea. But they're focused on the whiter they look. They're always focused on the appearance. Makeup is a big thing in Vietnam. Natural beauty in Vietnamese, definitely. But I would say go to the countryside for this. Don't go to like Saigon or Hanoi. Like you're gonna find makeup beauty. You know what I mean? You're gonna find filter beauty. And when you do date girls online and all you're going off are images, I would definitely recommend doing like phone calls, FaceTime, stuff like that, just to clarify how things look and that it's even the person you're even messaging. Beauty is a big part. Confidence. For a man who seeks a woman with confidence and strength of character, Vietnamese women are ideal choice. In a country that has a turbulent past, Vietnamese women raised to be strong-willed and independent. This does not mean that they will raise regular disputes with you, but they can rest assured that they will shy away from meeting people, engaging in conversations, or traveling. This is kind of false. To get a Vietnamese girl out of her comfort zone is actually quite challenging. They don't like to leave their zones. They don't like distancing from their families. They don't like changing their lifestyle. So when you get married to a Vietnamese girl, you're typically married into her life. You're kind of adapting to her lifestyle and her family's lifestyle. Vietnamese girls being confident. Again, these are very, like, it sounds like he got titles from like Western women's blogs and whatnot, because these just seem odd. In general, like we just talked about beauty, like it's always filters and stuff like that. I think most Vietnamese girls are just normal feminine women, like confident and I'm gonna do it myself. I don't think so. Most Vietnamese girls you meet don't want to work. You'll meet a lot of these like TAs and stuff like that, and when you talk to them about like their long-term goals of being a teacher or English teacher like that, majority of them don't want to. They're like, oh, I hope I get married so I can quit this job and blah, 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 start a family, have some kids. Or women in Vietnam usually don't want to work long-term jobs, and then the ones that do become older, and I know a lot of older Vietnamese women, like friends of the family and whatnot, that when they're in their 35, 40, 45s, they don't, like they just complain, like, I'm lonely, I wish I had a man around, yada, yada, yada. And then they end up buying cats or fish or something like that. So are Vietnamese girls confident? They're raised to be strong-willed. Not really. Most women are growing up, they're usually babied, spoiled. And this isn't a bad thing at all. Understand Vietnamese culture, the girls are usually married off to a guy that will help the family grow bigger, right? Usually girls are quite a priority in regards to like Vietnamese culture. And the guy usually takes care of the parents, kind of a thing, of the wife or something like that, right? I don't know. Like I don't see Vietnamese girls as being like feminine, you know, not like I'm sorry, not being like this like self-independent, like I don't need no man nonsense, like that fresh and fit kind of stuff, right? I don't see this. Like I've rarely met, as soon as I've dated any Vietnamese girl, and I've dated a couple that were like top end, like they worked hard. I dated this one girl at the first school I ever worked at, and I dated another girl. She was a high-end VP at Vietnam Bank. That's how I opened my bank account there. After we started dating, they both went from like top, you know, boss chick as they call it, to just like a sweet girl. Like they immediately fell into their role of, you know, falling with their mother taught them, per se, right? So I don't think if you meet a strong chick in Vietnam, she's gonna become a very sweet girl overnight. So this confidence stuff, I have no idea what he's talking about. Will you find this? No, you'll find girls that support you. Vietnamese girls actually are very supportive of their husbands. They're great women in that respect. Receptive. Vietnamese women are warm and engaging. When you find a girl that you are attracted to, you can be confident that she will receive a pleasant reception. Yeah, this is horribly translated. They are polite, kind, and empathetic, and so even the most nervous man is sure to enjoy a positive welcome from a new girl from Vietnam. This is true. Like Vietnamese girls, even if you're that shy guy, they're usually not bad. And the reason for that, and here's where I'm shooting, I'm pretty much shots fired at the guys, but usually most Vietnamese guys, after marriage, typically, not always, but the first year is like a honeymoon, right? I think that's Western standards too. But after that honeymoon, the guy kind of goes back to mentally thinking, oh, it's single life. You know, he's out partying with his friends, he's constantly drunk all the time, he might even pick up smoking. I've seen that a few times. They kind of step away from the marriage. So when you come in there a little shy, but you have this sincere, like, oh, I want to take care of you, I want to be your husband, yeah, they're going to be like, wow, what's up? You know, like they're going to love you. And it's not like a gold digging thing. They're just like, it's a new experience, you know, and you seem sincere. And a lot of shy guys usually are more needy, you know what I mean? Like the beta kind of guy. So definitely you will see that. Number 5, patient. Vietnamese women are not pushy or over demanding. Their patience means that they will not have high expectations, and the pace of your relationship can be natural and safe. This is an ideal for men less confident who want to establish stronger true love through online dating. So I would never establish long-term online dating in general, especially with women in Asia. Doesn't matter what country. There's just too many complications. And there's this phrase, when you marry the girl, you marry the family. So you definitely want to know who the family is before you start getting married to these girls. Don't just be like, I'm going to fly to Vietnam and randomly marry this chick I've been talking to, and you know who she looks like and how she acts. That family, you need to know who they are. Mother-in-laws are dangerous in Vietnam, like dangerous. So you need to be careful. The women in general though, yeah, they're not pushy. Again, and this right here contradicts the F out of this. They're confident, they want to do their own thing, they're strong-willed. And then down here is like, oh yeah, they just kind of give in to you. So you can tell, like, Google translates felony to this guy's just cut and pasting like random articles together. Vietnamese women generally, when you find a good one, you get married, she's usually down for you. The only thing that will make her turn her back on you or tell you no is usually, again, the mother-in-laws or her own mother. It's usually the women in the life of a Vietnamese relationship where that is. So number 6, honest. Honesty is integral to a successful relationship. Vietnamese brides as raised to share their opinions and beliefs in a constructive and calm way. You can be sure that women will experience their desires and reviews honestly, but without intending to cause upset. I think this is a weird one. Now, what does it mean to be honest in Vietnam culture? That's kind of the thing. Simple things that you think are wrong, a lot of girls nowadays won't even think twice about. I knew a lot of friends that dated Vietnamese girls that were like 25, 27, and they were just like, OF girls, per se. Like, they weren't, but they were getting close to that, like, idea, the way they were posting. And they would have Instagrams, they'd be doing, like, the selfies and all that nonsense. And they never shared this stuff. They never shared the DMs messages they got. They never shared with their husbands or their boyfriends that they were getting money from these random Western dudes. Because to them, it was their job, and they weren't cheating physically with these guys. And they weren't having these, like, I love you conversations with them. So, honesty in Vietnam is subjective with the girls because the culture is different. What they think is honest isn't the same for Western people at all. So, and I've seen this a lot of times actually, when Vietnamese girls start getting a lot of the Instagram fame, they won't share it with their Western husbands so much because it's not a big deal to them. It's not a big deal in culture, per se, because Vietnamese typically grow up in an Instagram world. Everything's filters, everything's about, dance videos and nonsense. I mean, you see this in like high schools, in secondary schools. These kids are dancing in front of their phones. They're just holding their phone, doing these stupid things, trying to get likes and whatnot. And it's just part of the culture. I remember I was in Thailand and I did a teaching gig for 3 months just to kind of see how it was. And this one girl, really cute girl, cute, honest, little sweet girl. Like she was doing like Instagram. I don't mean that a creepy way. I'm just saying like she was a sweet girl, right? And she always, every day before class, she would do dance videos on her phone for TikTok. And one day she did a video apparently, and it didn't get a lot of likes. And she was in class crying. Like she had an emotional breakdown in class. I didn't know what the F to do. Like she's having a breakdown over social media. I know this is becoming a big problem in the West, but understand, and the reason this comes back to honesty is these types of things are part of the day-to-day life. So if they are doing this stuff, they're not going to be totally honest about it because to them, there's no need to be honest about it because it's just normal. In regards to like other stuff like them cheating on you, what their parents are saying, honesty in that respect, 100%. Vietnamese usually talk a lot. They gossip a lot. That's pretty much all. If you've ever been to a girls' night out, all they do is gossip. They just gossip. Western girls have nothing on Vietnamese girls when it comes to gossip. Those girls could go hours and hours overnight. They'll go to karaoke bars, turn on some music, and just gossip for 15 hours straight. Like, it's insane. Do know anything you tell your wife, it's gonna get out there. Like, they don't hold secrets. I think that's a problem. They're overly honest. Number 7, culture. One of the greatest benefits is online dating with Vietnamese girls is the opportunity to learn about new countries and its culture. Vietnamese women will be pleased to share their traditions, way of life with you, which will be both interesting and bind you closer to her. If you ever do come out here, or if you are out here and you're married to a Vietnamese girl, you'll understand what I mean by the mother-in-law. But usually Vietnamese girls aren't going to start blurring their whole culture onto you unless it's like day-to-day stuff, like how you should act when you go to their house, stuff like that. They're not going to sit here and give you a lecture on the 1600 Vietnamese way history of Ho Chi Minh. Like, they're not gonna, they probably don't even know that stuff. Like, you as a teacher in Vietnam probably know more about Ho Chi Minh's history than Vietnamese people do these days because they don't care. But they'll teach you culture stuff that's basic. If you start asking them like, what are these dresses, what is this and that, they'll definitely tell you that. But if you do get married in Vietnam, I actually went to a friend of mine, he's an Australian guy, he got married to a Vietnamese girl. This is back in like 2016, I think. And his wife was literally teaching him all about the clothes that the guy wears, how you have to be. Because understand, when you get married in Vietnam, you don't divide your culture with the wife, the family. It is Vietnamese all the way, all in, it's all Vietnam. You do not act American or Australian or whatever in a Vietnamese wedding or relationship while you're in Vietnam. It is full on. You are treated as a Vietnamese even though they look at you every time and they're like, you can use chopsticks? So you are always in that like realm. Understand that. So they will teach you the culture as it's needed, as it's required, but they'll never sit down with you and give you like a lesson. Vietnamese women, romance. Vietnamese women enjoy romance and they likely be keen to show you their affections in romantic ways. Men date Vietnamese enjoy the affection, relationships, benefits, and two-way efforts with classics and innovative demonstrations of their feeling. What the does that mean? Comment below. With classic and innovative demonstrations of their feelings. My head is going in a very bad spot right now. What does that mean to you guys? Let me know. Vietnamese women make for ideal partners for romantic men. Sure, I think Vietnamese women are like any other woman. They are a little shyer because it's traditional to be married before like any sexual interaction. So you will run into that roadblock. Unless you're going to like Bui Vinh or something like that, or you're just being like a casual. There are modern westernized girls. Like if you go to Vung Tau and date Vietnamese girls, you will meet girls that will sleep with you the first day or the first week or month, and they're serious about you. Like they won't have a serious relationship. And then you'll meet some more traditional where they won't even kiss you until like the first month. So this really depends where you meet the girl. I've noticed though, in my personal experience, the more north you get, the more traditional they are. The more south you get, the more westernized they are. This isn't a good, this isn't a bad thing. It's just how they act. So it's kind of up to you, because the north consists of majority countryside stuff. But if you are out in like Lai Châu or Lao Cai, you're dating a Vietnamese girl, expect things to go very slow and more family orientated. You pretty much need to be approved by the family at this point. Number 9, strong. Vietnamese women are strong and capable. Likely to separate roles between men and women, are regularly found completing manual tasks as well as domestic duties. For a man who believes in equality and empowerment, Vietnamese girls are such superb examples of ladies equal. See, this doesn't make sense. Like this guy keeps counteracting himself. So are they, yeah, I think ideally 95% of Vietnamese girls, even if they act like this, like I don't need no man, like that kind of nonsense, at the end of the day, they fall into the role of a traditional woman. And there are roles in a Vietnamese family. So when you get married in Vietnam, there's this phrase, I think China has the same phrase. When you marry the girl, you're not marrying the girl, you're marrying into the family. So the mother-in-law has her role. I bring her up a lot. And if you get married in Vietnam, you'll understand why. But the father has a role. The brothers, the sister-in-laws, they all have roles in this marriage. And the wife, of course, has her own. And you, as the husband, have your own. If you marry a Vietnamese girl and she's working and you stay home, you try to like invert this equality nonsense they do in America, you will lose all respect from the family, even if the wife is okay with it. The family is going to attack the hell out of you. They're going to gossip and they're going to talk the hell out of you. They're going to insult the crap out of you. Women are strong. Definitely. I mean, they're awesome. Vietnamese women are awesome, like long-term wives, really. Like as long as you get one that's honestly outside of the main city areas, yeah. And they kind of follow their domestic duties, 100%. So I agree with this. I feel like a lot of it kind of contradicts the original. That's why I'm saying I think he just cut and pasted a lot of stuff from before. And number 10, fun. Of course, all relationships need to have fun relationships with Vietnamese women. Promises that from the flirty, filthy. Manners and giggly days, Vietnamese girls are quick to look into the fun of life, share jokes, be silly. You guys are gonna have to comment below on this one because I think my comment on this is gonna be kind of subjective. I think in general, most Vietnamese modern girls these days, because a lot of you guys watch this are probably going to be dating girls that are like 20 to like 30, right? Maybe 32, 33. And if you're trying to date a girl that doesn't have kids or you don't want to have kids, like 35. Most of these girls in these ranges, let's say 20 to 35, they're on their phones all day. I have seen so many like interracial relationships where it's like a Vietnamese girl had 2 kids already and this Australian guy or Canadian guy starts dating the girl. And what you see it's usually the girl and their kids on phones and the husband's just sitting there like, or the boyfriend's just like, what are we doing, guys? I think when a relationship starts early, and I notice that even with my relationships, when they start off early, they're fun. Hell yeah. Like my first relationship in Vietnam, all we did was take trips. That's how I saw all of Vietnam. She always took me to like these remote areas that no Western person ever goes to. And we had a lot of fun, but Actually, that relationship actually never died in that respect, the fun. Other ones, though, it was always a lot of phone shit. You know, like she's always on phone. Like when I started having my second long-term relationship, I started opening up a school, my first school. So she was just always on her phone. Like I just feel like relationships in Vietnam with this age group of girls, they typically never get off their freaking phones. And they're constantly taking selfies. If you take a Vietnamese girl's phone and look at it, like you pick it up and you look at it, the desktop is a picture of her, which is like narcissist out of control. I don't get why people, even guys in Vietnam do that. Like they have pictures of themselves. Like it's so weird. And then when you go to their camera roll, it's literally like 40,000 pictures of themselves. So that's kind of what it is. So they're obsessed into that world, and then they're constantly on Zalo and Facebook kind of a thing. So are Vietnamese girls fun? It's a hit and miss. But I think that's the same in every country, especially in Vietnam. And I saw this in Thailand too. The girls typically can't get off their damn phones. They're always on their phone. If you're at home, just relaxing on the weekend, they're probably watching Netflix all day. And if you try to talk to them, it's just kind of like pretend my phone. Hey, honey, what do you? Yeah, we can do that. What? You know, it's like that. Like you're constantly fighting her for her attention. So are they fun? Sure. Will they have flirty banter? Maybe. Like I think that's the wrong word for a Vietnamese girl. As they just said up here that they're very respectful. I think it was the one we were talking about, where they don't like just start giving themselves up like that. I don't know. That's kind of a weird one, but that's kind of my knockout on this. If you should date, 10 reasons why you should try dating a Vietnamese woman. I definitely think if you're in Vietnam, you should, but you should also be aware of what you're walking into. Never, my like top tip advice on this is never promise marriage to a Vietnamese girl when you haven't met her family yet. That's a big one. The family is a big part of Vietnamese marriage. I don't think Western people don't understand that. It's very rare to find a Vietnamese girl that isn't anchored to her parents. It's really not. And when you date, so when the girl dates the guy, usually the guy's family moves in. So you kind of lose that, or you kind of gain that benefit, because your mother and father as a Westerner is not going to move in with you and your Vietnamese wife. But now the Vietnamese family sees it's like, well, there's an open vacancy apparently, because his family's not going to move in there. And Vietnamese families know that Western families don't do that. Like when we turn 18, we out the game, man. We move it on. We try to get our own apartments. So do be aware of who the family is when you're married in this relationship. You rarely will find a girl that will just give it all up. I remember my very first girlfriend I dated in Vietnam. It was like for 2 years. And she did, in fact, kind of separate herself from her family because of us. And she was actually secretive about us for the first year to make sure that we were serious. Like, Vietnamese girls don't just start talking about their boyfriend on the first week. Like, they actually wait until they feel like it's a serious thing. And once I met the family, things got weird. Her father was a very high-end level person in the old government of the South Vietnam. So there was a lot of issues there. The mothers, she was sweet. Usually mothers are sweet. Like, even if they hate you, they want you to die. They're usually nice to you. I have so many stories about mothers of girls that I dated or liked that loved me, but behind my back, they'd be like, this guy, hope he gets hit by a train. Like, they do this. Like, this actually happened to me like 6 months ago, 7 months ago, where the mother that always loved me, always brought me food, always like was the sweetest girl in the world, the moment something didn't go her way, she turned on me, attacked me, and attacked everybody around me. So this is kind of a sad part of Vietnam, because I see families attacking families in Vietnam. It's quite sad. Again, many stories on that too. But yeah, know who the family is. And I strongly suggest moving to Vietnam and living with them, or at least being around them for, like 3, 4, 5, 6 months, a year maybe, before you commit to a marriage or something like that. Hopefully that gives you an insight about dating in Vietnam and what you think about Vietnamese girls. Let me know below what you guys think. I mean, times are changing. And I think the future of Vietnam with Western guys is the girls are becoming more westernized. I'm going to do it my way. And the problem with that is the families fight back. It's not so much that I'm saying that women should be independent. It's the families in Vietnam fight back. The mothers and fathers start attacking their own children. Be like, what are you doing? Get married. Have babies. Because that's the culture. That's Vietnam's life, right? And this Western stuff, it is kind of melted into the new age of people here. But the families who actually hold the final say are still not vibing with it. So either way, I think that's good for today, guys. Send me emails below if you want me to go over any articles. This isn't typically what I do, but it is fun to kind of talk about these. And this article was quite interesting. Like, a lot of it's kind of dated. This is 2020. I was there in 2015. Either way, I'm gonna get out, guys. Email below if you want to leave any articles you want me to kind of buzz through. I don't mind. It's actually kind of fun to go through these and share my experiences with you so you have a better insight of Vietnam before you get there. And I'm going to get out of here. So till then, guys, I will see you again.